Okay, hope you guys are doing well. Starting off with a little music as always. Kind of get through what we're going to do today. Really Friday, since I forgot to post a video. And I'll have another one for you guys later today about what's going on. So don't stop believing. We got like a month of this left. We can do this. So let's get started today. All right, so objectives today: identify the key components of the 10th Amendment, describe its importance in sharing power between the national government and the state governments, analyze the progression of federalism, federal-state relations at the end of the Civil War through today, so you can understand why the national government is so strong and why the states are asking for help. We'll get to that. Warm up, you have a quiz. The quiz is important, except for you didn't have the video. So you guys see right there, you'll have a second quiz that's posted for you guys. It's the same exact quiz. So if you didn't do well the first time, watch the video, go back and take the quiz then. I will take the higher of the two grades, okay? So today we have main activity, notes on layer cake and marble cake, creative and competitive federalism. You guys can see right up here. We got a little layer marble cake example up there. I'll explain what that is. Keep work on your review sheets, and if you haven't got going on that Supreme Court stuff, get going on it because that's due Friday. Now it's Tuesday, so this stuff won't be due. No, we'll get to that in a little bit. Here we go. So how'd you come to school today? Hopefully you came to school ready to learn, because here we go. Trying something new, standing up, got my tie on. It's Christmas tie, but I don't have too many things that match purple shirt, so we're going to go with that. So let's start going here today. All right, first of all, there's 4 different types of federalism. These 4 different types of federalism line up with different time periods in the history of the country. So we can start off with layer cake. Layer cake goes from the Civil War to the New Deal. Marble cake goes from the New Deal to the Great Society. Creative goes from the Great Society to a case called South Dakota v. Dole. That's going to be Reagan. It's not going to make sense, but it's going to kind of make sense. We're going to get there. Then the word competitive federalism. Competitive federalism is South Dakota v. Dole to present time today. A lot to do with money. We're going to get to that. All right, so let's get going today. First of all, layer cake federalism. Layer cake federalism is just like it looks. If you look at that layer cake right there, and it looks really, really yummy because that's red velvet cake with cream cheese frosting, but who's counting? If you look at that right there, you have different layers of cake, but there's frosting in the middle. That would mean from 1865 to 1932, for all intents and purposes, there was frosting, there was separation between the different governments, right? So they never overlapped. So in this way, this is a term called dual federalism. Dual federalism, that's a vocab term. Make sure you guys get it. Dual federalism is each government is supreme in their own sphere of influence. So each government exercises their power independently of the other. So if you look down there at the national government and the state government, there's a line in the middle. And that line in the middle shows there's a difference between the two. Now, this is Plessy versus Ferguson time. This is why separate but equal was illegal. There's nothing the national government could do about it if a state wanted to keep its citizens separate based off of their race. The national government couldn't get involved. We're going to see this again in a case called Cumming versus Richmond a little bit later on if we have time to do a little civil liberties, which we might. All right, so look at the separation there. You guys should be able to think about that. There's a clear line between the two, and this is dual federalism. This is the foundations of it. Now, this only lasts until 1932, which is when we get marble cake federalism. Now, you're going to see here that all these different types of federalism change depending on who president is, right? So when that president has a different change of policy, we're going to get a new type of federalism or a new type of relationship between the national government and the state government. So marble cake federalism is 1932 to the Great Society. So 1932 to 1964, please do not worry about the dates. All right, the dates are unimportant. Now, if you guys notice here, there's a clear difference between marble cake federalism and layer cake federalism, and you can simply look at the cakes. If you look at layer cake federalism, there's a line between the two, right? They don't touch. If you look at marble cake federalism, they start to kind of get mixed together. So the definition here is the national government becomes more intrusive and was typically the domain of the states. This is the first time the national government starts giving the states money. And look at the difference in the pictures now, right? The national government and the state government overlap, and then you have a little bit of that kind of red leaking into the state governments, right? That's because the national government is giving money to the states. Like today, right? The states need money because they don't have it. The national government's giving money to the states for the first time, but it's intrusive. They're not usurping, they're not taking, they're getting involved in what was state affairs before. This is really important to understand, especially for today. So the national government began to assume more roles within the nation. Think about what's going on. Think about the fact that the national government is getting involved in health. They're getting involved in welfare, right? And the states are allowing it because the states don't have money. So why did the states allow this to happen? In 1932, well, the national government under FDR had accepted the fact that they could deficit spend. Deficit spending is spending money that you don't have. Think about our $2 trillion deficit package, or our spending package for the first coronavirus. If you guys haven't seen the news today, today's Tuesday because I'm behind, we're going to pass another $480 billion stimulus package. That's $2.5 trillion. Our annual budget's $4.2 trillion. We're deficit spending because the states need us to, right? They need us to. So the national government was using its power over money, and the states allowed it. All right, because the states took the money, because the states wouldn't deficit spend, and most still don't today. But the national government can, based off what it's doing, because it's got a much bigger economy, can make the money up. So we've got layer cake federalism right here, right? Differences between the layers, boom. Then we get marble cake federalism, 1932 and 1964, boom, right there, because the states are taking the money. Now, as they take the money, the states start to get addicted to the national government money, okay? And as a result, the national government's going to get more power. So 1964 starts. We get this guy called LBJ coming into office, Lyndon Baines Johnson. He's a big-time Democrat. He wants to start something called the Great Society. Now, LBJ had a major problem. His problem was, how does the national government get money to the states without violating the 10th Amendment? Because he wanted to help the people, right? So what he's going to need to do is he's going to take that money to form the Great Society, and he's going to circumvent the 10th Amendment in order to get the money to the people, all right? In order to get the money to the people. So what he's going to do is the national government gives money to the states under creative federalism, and the states give the money to the people, right? The national government gives money to the states, and the states give the money to the people. So the 10th Amendment's not violated. The national government's paying for it, but the states are administering the programs, right? This is a big deal. This, in turn, gives the national government more power, and the states just don't know it. So the states give the money to the people. So the national government gives money to the states give the money to the people. LBJ, we call these entitlements. The reason this is such an amazing, amazing idea is because we feel like we're entitled to these things. And if the national government cuts them, it's bad news. You need to know those four. They are on the test, right? Medicare is healthcare for the elderly. Medicaid is healthcare for the poor. Welfare is monetary assistance for the poor. And SCHIP, its acronym is State Children's Health Insurance Program. It's got the word state in it. It's got the word health in it. Yet it's still a national government program, right? These are entitlements. Check that out. We've got state, we've got health, we've got welfare, and the national government's paying for it. Why is it legal? Because if we go back to this, the national government gives money to the states, and the states give the money to the people. This is a big deal. Now, we need to jump back really quickly here. The national government starts to become more intrusive in what state affairs. The states start taking the money. Then we get to this, the national government starts administering these programs. This is huge. The reason it's huge is now the national government is giving money to the states are taking all of it, and the states are becoming super addicted to national government money, right? They need to keep doing these programs. It's going to give a lot of power to the national government. So this is what creative federalism looks like. Check it out, right? National government is way bigger than the states now. And they're still getting involved in their affairs. If you want to see the quick difference, check it out. Layer cake federalism. Marble cake federalism. Creative federalism. This is crazy about the size of power the national government has. Okay, so here's what happens. In creative federalism, national government and the state government share the cost. What that means is they both have to pay. They don't split it 50-50. Second, the national government pays, but the states reap the benefits. Here's how this works. The people think the money's coming from the states, right? There's a lot of people on unemployment right now who are thanking the states for getting their unemployment. That's paid for by the national government. But the national government can't give the money to the people because that would violate welfare. It's 10th Amendment. Next, both governments are somewhat responsible for administering the programs, right? Here's the problem. Your parents give you 20 bucks to go out, and then you go out and they say you can go to one of these three places. Once you leave, that's it. You've got the money. You can kind of do what you want. Finally, as a result, the national government forces the states to rely on federal funds, right? The states start becoming addicted for the first time here, right? National government starts forcing the states to rely on federal funds because if they don't take the money, they can't administer the programs. If they can't administer the programs, they get thrown out of office. This is huge. All right. So, slippery slope, rely, addicted. Please understand this. This is the first time the states really start becoming addicted to federal government money and they can't refuse it. So, what is the result of creative federalism? Well, we have a Democrat in 1964 in LBJ. In 1972, we get this Republican, Nixon. He's not the competitive federalism guy. He calls it new federalism, right? And what he wants to do is he wants to return power to the states. Remember, this is from our first video. This is called devolution, returning responsibility to the states from the national government. This is going to turn into competitive federalism. The competition is for the people's votes. Right, the competition's for the people's vote. Who's going to get credit? So, new federalism is devolution. You're passing responsibility back to the states. This is Nixon and Reagan, right? Please understand, if you guys look there, Reagan is in bold. Hint. Oh, I'm sorry. Reagan is in bold. I want you to know it's Reagan, okay? Because you're going to see the time period here. So, competitive federalism. You passing responsibility back to the states. The national government gives money with some compliance. Okay, this is when your parents give you 20 bucks to go out, but you got to clean your room first. Compliance. All right. So here's what happens. The states have to accept the responsibility of administering the programs with conditions to get the money. This idea is going to become known as condition in aid grants. The reason I say grants is because there's no condition in aid grants. You put conditions in aid on grants, right? So please don't think that there's certain types of condition in aid grants. You're just putting conditions on grants. All right, so some examples. Speed limit for oil consumption. States didn't care about that. Drinking age, states did care about that. All right, this is called the Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984. And the big deal here is the national government want to get credit for protecting the children. We're going to raise that drinking age to make sure the kids are safe. Well, how they do it? Well, here's how they do it. They knew that the states were addicted. And the national government, Congress specifically, put a condition on their transportation money. Look at the size now. States got even smaller. National government got even bigger. National government now controls the states completely. All right. So what was the federal-state relationship? Let's really explain this really quickly because we're going to get to South Dakota v. Dole later on. The competition was in order to get the people's votes. In order to make this work, the national government threatened to withhold 5% of their money. We're going to do this in a little bit in South Dakota v. Dole. National government threatened to withhold 5% of the money. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, right? Your parents give you 20 bucks. If you don't clean your room, I'm going to take away 5%. That's $1. Whatever, I'm not cleaning my room. National government gives $100 million to the states and says, if you don't do what we want in terms of drinking age, we're going to withhold 5%. That's $5 million. That's a lot of money for a state, right? They got to come up with $5 million. So the competition was for the people's vote. It's 5%. We're going to get through the conditions and exactly how they did it later on. But in competitive federalism, the national government gets way more power because the states are addicted and they've got to accept the conditions to get the money because they won't deficit spend. Notice the progression here, right? Really quickly, what was the federal-state relationship in layer cake federalism? Separate. National government, state government, separate. Dual federalism, each government supreme in their own sphere. What was the federal-state relationship in marble cake federalism? National government, for the first time, starts to become more intrusive in state affairs. They start giving them money, right, to perform certain services to help out people who are unemployed. That's welfare. But the states took the money because they wouldn't deficit spend. President, FDR. FDR is the president. What was the federal-state relationship in creative federalism? National government pays for it, states administer the programs, but the states start becoming addicted. Who was the president? LBJ, big-time Democrat. Great Society, entitlements. Medicare, help the old people. Medicaid, help the poor people. Welfare, help the poor people. S-chip, help the kids. What was the federal-state relationship among competitive federalism? National government has way more power than the states. The states are now addicted. If they want to get all the money, they have to meet compliance. And how much do they withhold? Boom! 5%. Who's the president? Reagan. Devolution. How is that possible? Here's the deal. As the national government gives more money back to the states, they become more and more addicted, right? Here's responsibility. You do it. Here's the money. Go carry it out. The more money you give them, the more addicted they become. The more addicted they become, the more power Congress gets. And they withhold 5% and they make the states change drinking age. We're going to get into that later on about why Wisconsin didn't do it. All right, so that's that one. Now what you guys need to do is you guys need to go back and take the quiz if you didn't do well the first time after the PowerPoint. This should help a lot. All right, I'll have today's lesson up in a little bit along with the video to go along with that lesson. Now, it's Tuesday. You have a week. I'm not going to double up so you don't have like Mondays and Tuesdays at the same time. It's Tuesday, so that means today's lesson on court cases, isn't due until next Tuesday, all right? Hope you guys are doing great. Take care of yourself. I will talk to you guys soon. Don't stop believing, baby. Shill Dog, out.